Title: The Lost Characters. The town of Maplewood had always been home to cheerful faces and bright smiles, especially when the annual Maplewood Festival rolled around. With the smell of popcorn and cotton candy filling the air, laughter resonated through the streets. But this year, an unsettling presence loomed over the festivities, not just the kernel-biting crows, but something far more sinister. It all began the weekend before the festival opened. Sarah Blake, a bright-eyed 16-year-old, had been excitedly browsing through old local newspapers in the basement of the library for a school project. Between yellowed pages, she unearthed an article written in 1987 about the town's mascots, an array of quirky characters lovingly crafted from foam, fabric, and public enthusiasm. Each character played a vital role in the parades and community theater, but then, in the late 90s, they all mysteriously vanished. Curious, Sarah spent the next few days seeking out anyone who might have knowledge of the lost mascots. She quickly learned about a local urban legend. On the eve of the festival, if the mascots weren't properly honored, they would return to life, angry that they had been neglected for so long. Perhaps it was mere coincidence or just her restless imagination, but strange things began happening around Maplewood. The shadow of a tall, lanky figure began appearing near the festival grounds where old fabrication remnants of costumes still lay. A whiff of stale popcorn, once sweetened with joy, turned rancid in the air. When Sarah asked her friends, Drew, Sam, and Nina, to join her in investigating the supposed mascot hauntings, they laughed, teasing her enthusiasm for myths. "We'll go, but only because we can't let you get eaten by a giant foam sponge," teased Drew, flicking her cap playfully. The group spent that afternoon gathering clues, venturing behind old buildings where they imagined the mascots had held their last grand performance. As darkness began to drape across the town, excitement turned into uneasiness. They stumbled upon a weathered warehouse, the paint peeling off the walls like aged skin. Written in faded letters above its entrance were the words, "Maplewood's Lost Mascots." Heart-pounding, Sarah pushed the door open. Inside, they were met with a cavern of discarded festival supplies. The mascots' old costumes lay strewn about like remnants of something long forgotten: a pirate with one eye bulging grotesquely, a bubbly soda can with a frightening grin, and a bumblebee with charred wings. From the depths of the warehouse, a raspy voice echoed, "Children, why have you come?" The friends shrieked, turning to see what looked like Peel the Clown, his face once painted with laughter, now stained with anger. Behind him stood the remains of every supposed mascot his friends had told him about, twisted and turned into nightmarish versions of themselves. "We were cast aside," Peel shouted, his eyes burning with unquenched rage. "You represent everything we used to be, and everything we never should have become." Panic-stricken, Drew began to pull at the hand of his friends, but the door slammed shut behind them. They were trapped. "Who's going to save us?" Sarah cried, realizing they had inadvertently awakened tormented spirits from a bygone era. The mascots circled, marching closer, their movements jerky and unnatural. Sam, ever the determined one, grabbed a box of confetti lying forgotten and hurled it toward Peel. Instantly, it exploded in a burst of color, mesmerizing the creatures for a moment. "This is what you were meant to be," Sam shouted. "Fun, joy, not this." The mascots paused, seemingly conflicted. Peel stepped forward, his expression softening momentarily as he remembered the joy they once brought to children. But it was short-lived, his essence was too twisted by years of neglect. "You think a little party favor can distract us from our pain? We want what is ours," he bellowed, his voice echoing through the hall like a nightmarish wind. "We can help you," Sarah urged, her heart racing faster than the flickering of lights around them. "We will bring you back. We'll have special sections just for you at the festival. We'll honor you. We'll create a parade in your name." The mascots hesitated, glancing at each other in confusion over their forgotten legacy. Peel took a step back, his figure wavering like a mirage. But the anger still within him surged, and he charged at them, mere inches away from escaping. In a last-ditch effort, Nina grabbed the nearest mascot costume, a bumblebee, and began to dance, clumsily mimicking its cheerful jig. Drew joined in, hopping around like a lunatic, and soon they were all spinning and twirling, letting go of their fears with wide smiles, despite the terror closing in. To their surprise, laughter erupted from their haunted audience. The Mascots watched as the children danced, nostalgia infused deep within their broken hearts. Gradually, the air lightened, and with it, the Mascots transformed back into the joyous figures they once were. The anger melted away. They were no longer twisted shadows, but the embodiments of happiness. With their motives shifted and memories reignited, the characters agreed to return for the festival, if, and only if, they could be celebrated as they once were. As suddenly as they had come to life, they vanished, leaving the friends gasping for breath in the warehouse, but with a newfound spark of hope. The day of the festival arrived, and as the parade began, the lost Mascots took center stage, vibrant and happy, twirling down the street once more as laughter filled the air. They had found solace in the joy of remembrance, and Maplewood flourished brightly, never to take their characters for granted again. Yet, as the sun set, the shadows shifted again, because they understood that darkness doesn't fully fade, it merely waits for an invitation back into the light.